Hello, Scott's here again. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, our way of life here. A lot of people have perspectives that they don't understand. They weren't here. They have been told this or that. We really did live a fairly normal life as related to living off the premises. We went to school. We were homeschooled. We had a structured schooling. My mother did all the things that any homeschooler would do, getting all the school books for the different material, math and science and whatnot. Literally made up homemade report cards, which she still has to this day, which kind of amazed me. But we lived very much like you would outside, with a few exceptions. A lot of people think that it was really different here, when it really wasn't. We did everything a normal kid would have. Up until February 28th came around, then things definitely changed. I believe I recall a heightened tension leading up to that day. Just the general activities of everyone here, all the members. On 28th, though, we weren't prepared for anything. We weren't sitting there waiting. We didn't know that this is what it was leading to. We did get word like that morning that something was going on due to some information. So what I remember, the first thing was a lot of commotion up and down the hallways, people of certain positions and whatnot getting together, a lot of chit chat. Our mother rounded us up, took us to the room. We were told to stay there and wait until we were told to do otherwise. And as I said before, that's what we were taught, do what mommy says.
Let me just ask, so the room where you lived with your mother was on the front of the building,
It was
floor, right?
first floor, front of the building, first or second window from the left, if I recall properly, which I might be a little off, but roughly. It was right there in the front. They actually had the dogs fenced in right in front of my window, the huskies that were shot by the ATF agents on February 28th. But that's what we did. We went straight to the room. We hunkered down. We kept quiet, waited to be given additional instructions. After some time, we heard a lot more commotion going on. We started to hear commotion outside. And the first thing that I remember hearing that morning, afternoon, give or take at this point, I believe it was around noon, I believe. The first thing I remember hearing was the whimpering and yelping of the dogs outside my window. There's a lot of debate on who shot first stuff, but from my perspective and my memory, that's the first thing I remember, those dogs being shot. After that, it was confusion. Mom immediately started getting us down up underneath the bunk beds. She put myself and my brother, the two oldest kids, under one bed, and put herself with my two youngest siblings under the other bed. And there we remained for what felt like an eternity. Exactly how long it was, I'm not sure, but it felt like a really long time. And the commotion just kept escalating, getting more and more, gunshots everywhere. I remember 3 of them actually coming through our window. Like Kathy said, we were down on the bottom floor, nowhere near any of the activity, nowhere near any of the return fire or anything like that. There was no one in our window, and we had 3 come in. I specifically remember after we were told, okay, we can get up and get out from under the beds. The first thing I remember doing was walking to the door across from the window and pulling one of the bullets out of the door frame to the door, and just thinking, that was pretty close. It could have been in another spot. From there, I don't really remember the time frame or exactly what happened in between the actual firefight and the time at which we were escorted out of the building to the vans to take us to the Methodist home, where our father, who I'm sure found out as soon as possible and came rushing on down to pick us up and get us out of here. I'm thankful that my mom sent us out. A lot of people didn't have that privilege. I left with my 2 brothers and my sister. We went to a home where we were for, in my memory, a few days, maybe a week or so, tops. I don't really remember a lot about the Methodist home. I do remember a little teddy bear that I had that I took a connection to or something of that nature. But eventually we were introduced back to our father. I actually have a visual memory of a room when we first seen him, because you got to remember my parents had divorced when I was 4 and I'm now 11. I hadn't really seen my dad much since then, so this was, from our perspective, somewhat of a stranger, you know, being released from these people and released to another one. I'm glad that I had the background that I had to just go with the flow and do what mommy said and stuff like that. Otherwise, it would have been a lot more difficult for me. I think it was a lot easier for me than a lot of other people because of the background and the habit that I had of moving around and change. I was very used to change. So it came a lot more normal to me than it would have come to a lot of other kids, especially those like the Joneses. They lost a lot that day. I lost a stepfather on February 28th. It was definitely not right. It was definitely something that the government did not do correctly. And now as an adult, looking back at things, I've done all my digging and research to try to make sense of it. And I'm going to try to do this. I go to researching Mike, and there's nothing that makes any sense. No matter what angle I look at, no matter which way I go, they did not do it right. That's what I want people to know.